Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us on Fully Managed. Thank you, Cody, so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Beautiful. So today we're going to start with a game. I like to change up my game per guest, so this one's specifically for you. Okay, this game is called Search Showdown. So I am going to give you two, phrases, and you are going to tell me what you think is searched for more.
Okay, sure.
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
It's okay if you're wrong. I don't think anyone could really just know this unless they're looking them up regularly. But okay. So the first one is are you ready?
I am ready. Let's roll.
Okay. Keep game face on. Okay. First one is how to rank on Google versus how to go viral on TikTok.
The latter. Definitely how to go viral on TikTok is search one.
You're wrong.
No way, really? How to rank on Google? That's fantastic.
I was also surprised by that. So don't worry.
Super happy about me being wrong there, to be honest.
Yeah, no, that's nice. That's nice. I think people maybe they're not really looking up how to go viral on TikTok. They're kind of just trying to go viral on TikTok. They're just trial and erroring it.
Yeah, that's a lot. I think a lot of TikTok in general.
No, that's a little hopeful. So okay, next one is ChatGPT for marketing versus SEO tools 2025.
Oh, the former ChatGPT for marketing, I think.
I'm so sorry that it is
Really?
SEO tools.
Wow. Well, hey, that's again fantastic. SEO tools. Searchbloom has a plethora of them. Go visit our website.
Yeah, I think that perhaps I think that it's like maybe the specific way in which it's mentioned. Like maybe people wouldn't look up ChatGPT for marketing, but they'd look up like AI tools for marketing. You know what I'm saying? Because like in chat, they could just look up marketing tools in ChatGPT, I guess. You know what I'm saying? I think that might be like the exception, but I know where you were going with that.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely hype right now for sure. Like there's a ton
Oh,
behind it, so that's why I lean towards it. But it makes sense. Yeah.
No, yeah, I think it was really on phrasing for that one because I would, if the phrasing was different, I would positively think it would be the first one for sure because there's like everyone is you know, everyone's looking into that now, especially if they want to like, I don't know, spend less money. They whatever it may be. AI tools are really big buzz right now. Okay. Next
I hope
one.
I just get them all wrong now at this point.
I mean, you know, if you're wrong, but you know, like it's a good thing. Like we're happy that it's the other way around. Then I think that it's a win-win.
Absolutely.
Okay, next one is best marketing podcasts versus best productivity hacks.
I'm thinking. Well, that's a hard one. I'm
I
thinking the
know.
best marketing podcast, only because I'm in marketing.
I'm so sorry.
Yes, love again. This is awesome.
I wouldn't have gotten any of these right. I just want you to know that it's okay. I was surprised about a lot of these. I'm gonna be honest.
Wow.
Yeah, that one I'm almost just thinking that it's maybe people aren't really looking up marketing podcasts, maybe they're just stumbling upon them. I don't know. This is a marketing podcast, so I wish that the first one was the one that's looked up more. However, maybe we're just pessimistic on that one winning.
I get it.
I would never look up best productivity hacks. I would just look up things to be productive. I don't know. Maybe if people are watching reels about it, I don't.
There's weird stuff that goes viral, right? So,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's okay. Okay. Last one. AI generated content versus human copywriters.
I think the former again. I think that's the big buzz. So yeah, I'm gonna go with.
Congratulations!
Hey, we got one right. Although I don't recommend it.
Yeah. Maybe you know, you can again. I think that it can be used very well as a tool, but maybe not for an entire all of your content to be made. Maybe not the best choice, but you know, who am I to judge? But anyway, Cody, thank you so much for entertaining me with this game. I wouldn't really worry about getting any of these wrong. I think they're genuinely surprising. But I think people are constantly genuinely surprised about certain things that are searched for more often than others. Me specifically, when I'm going in Google and typing something that I think would be looked for a lot, and then what comes up in relation to those 4 words that I'm typing is completely different than what I expected to come up.
Yeah, I think everybody searches a little bit different, and what I've found is that no where you're located, you have people in different like states or countries, they search in different ways. So like
Mm.
a plumber near me, I might search for, but somewhere in like, for example, New York in a borough, they're not going to be searching for plumber near me as much as they might a certain borough. It's pretty
Mm.
interesting the way that it evolves, it changes.
Yeah, it is really interesting. I think that, yeah, there's a lot of things to consider where like your area might affect what is searched for more often. And I think a lot of people don't consider that factor.
Yeah.
So thank you for participating in our game, but now this is all about you from now here on. So
Okay.
please tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us about, since this is a lot about your business journey, tell us kind of, how you came into founding Searchbloom, how you got to this point in your career, what you're doing today, and everything in between that you think would be relevant to share with our audience.
Well, it's a long story. We're Searchbloom
That's
is
okay.
11 years old, right? So
Congratulations. Getting past that 10-year mark is a real big milestone, so that's incredible.
thank you, thank you. Searchbloom is a search marketing agency. That's all that we do, search marketing, whether that be Google Ads or SEO, or LLMO, AIO, AEO, whatever you want to acronym that, that new discipline. I just actually wrote a white paper on that anyway, but I think just to kind of lead up why I started Searchbloom is I felt it required. Um, I think I've always been entrepreneurial. And I got that probably from my father, Craig. And I didn't know that I would like start a business, when I was young, or anything like that. But what occurred is that I was in college and I got an opportunity to work at Google as an intern on the Google Offers project, and that got me introduced to analytics and websites and data, and I became pretty fascinated. And that's I think where the passion started, the love affair started. After Google Offers was shut down, I moved into a company that did websites, web development, web applications. So I had to rapidly learn a lot about web applications and in the development process, because that's what I was selling. I was predominantly in sales or business development.
Mhm.
Uh, After that, I moved because that's cool. I like that, but I like marketing and sales more, right? So I went over to another firm. I won't mention their name. You can look me up and you can find out who they are. But effectively, I worked for another SEO company, and I moved my way up until I learned. And it was probably like 2 years, where I moved my way up to the director of business development or something,
Mhm.
and I then learned how the sausage was being made, and I could no longer sell the service. I couldn't
Mm.
do it anymore. I couldn't put my name on it anymore. So I thought, well, let's go to a higher end agency that I can believe in, that I can put my name behind. So I popped over to another agency, and darn if they didn't do the same thing. Again, I worked my way up. I built this business development channel partnership service line of the business.
Mm.
And then I was promoted to the director of strategy. All the curtains got pulled back, the hood got open, and I'm like, oh, dang it, no more. And that's
Darn,
when
they
I
were just
start.
better at hiding it.
Yeah. So then again, that was a little bit faster, maybe a year and a half, year and 8 months. And as soon as I learned it, I planned my exit. And that's when I thought, you know what, there has to be a better way. You can do this white hat. You can do this transparently. You can do this with results centered focus. And you can do it by building trust and partnerships with your clients. It's not just at Searchbloom. It's part of our mission. We are the most trusted, transparent, and results-driven search marketing company in the world. If we are not that, we are not succeeding, right? So building trust, building transparency and providing results is within our DNA. So, made the leap. I think I had not a ton of money, maybe like $30,000 saved up over time. I mean, consider this was quite a long time ago. I was in my 20s.
Mhm.
So I had a little bit of money, a little bit of runway, and not a lot of clients, right? So I worked, got a few partners. We call them partners at Searchbloom.
Mhm.
Um, and over time, I was able to hire my first employee, Jordan Connor. Shout out to our executive vice president. He's now become a partner of mine within the firm, an incredible and talented person, and just genuinely loved guy. Since then, boy, it's been a whirlwind. That the last 11 years have gone by so fast. Um, I in the fifth year or sixth year of Search Bloom, I got married. Uh, and now we have two beautiful little girls. And as much as I love Search Bloom, and as much as I am passionate about search marketing, there's nothing that really competes with my family. So I'm a family man first, for sure.
Oh, I think I love that you ended on such a wholesome note with that story. I think that's really lovely. And having a girl dad is the best dad. I'm gonna be
I think I
honest.
have like 4 girl dad shirts.
That's incredible. Yeah, I have 6 sisters, and there's no boys in our family. So, girl dads. It's statistically proven that girls take care of their parents in their old age more often than sons do. Fun fact, even though I know you're a son, I'm sure. So I have take care
I,
of your
I
parents.
suppose I have to be that. Yeah, no, I am. I am. Well, that's good because I'm probably going to need it. Olivia, Emma, you're probably going to need to take care of me at some point.
But that's wonderful, and that's a really great story. I think that I love hearing. It's so interesting that I think that people kind of fall into the agency space in a very like serendipitous way. I think that a lot of times it's one of the least linear paths I notice when I talk to people about their career journeys. It's and yours is actually more linear than I feel like most, because you kind of at least like you were kind of in similar spaces and then ended up in this space. But I think it's really cool to explore that and kind of understand like the reason why someone would start their own agency. Like I think um, and I can testify to your experience at previous agencies because I hear that unfortunately a little too often from other people from other agencies that have worked with agencies that they didn't like the way in which they were doing things, and they didn't agree with it morally, um, and started their own agency for that reason. And I think that's really lovely. I hope they're not doing the same thing that they that's always my hope. But it's unfortunate that you hear um, especially even from clients that they were burned by an agency and that's why they're coming to you and they're almost wary about going to another one because of their previous experience.
Yeah, I think probably 90% of our partners have worked with another agency and/or have been burned by another agency, which is really unfortunate. It gives SEO and search marketing a bad name, but at the same time, I have to give credit where credit is due because way back then, the goal was to, as it is today, rank on Google, rank on search engine, rank on answer engine, right? Back then, answer engines didn't exist, but rank on Google, and it was just super easy. Like you could just manipulate and trick Google really, really easily.
Yeah.
Um, and by getting their hands smacked many, many times, they went through the hard stuff and trying to resolve those issues. Tip of the cap, I suppose, to being one of the first or some of the first to be doing it. Uh, but ultimately, there comes a point where ethics and morals triumph anything else, in particular money, right? I saw the second agency that I worked for made gobs of money, right? Net profit was crazy. Gross margin was like 70%. And I'm just like, holy moly, how is this possible? And then I learn, and I'm like, oh, I see. Uh, yeah, that,
Yes.
that makes sense, and I can't do that anymore.
Yes, no, I completely understand that, and I agree that there's an important part of it to give credit where credit's due, especially with like maybe not specifically with or as specifically as SEO, but in marketing in general. I think a lot of people have misconceptions about how it works and then feel that they're burned by an agency because of misaligned expectations and maybe unrealistic expectations that they put on that agency. And that is something that happens too. But I think it's also at, you know, at the liberty of that agency to communicate properly to make sure that there are proper expectations set for their client. And I think that that is also something that doesn't happen as often as it should too, which is why clients often feel burned.
Yeah, no, that's so when I first founded the company, I decided then and there that we will not have a sales team because I learned from experience sales teams are motivated by money, right? Commissions, closing deals. It gives dopamine hits when they close deals. I know because I'm in sales. Um, and the thing is when that occurs, they will push anything through that they can to get that dopamine hit, commission, etc. So when we're 100% inbound here at Searchbloom, so when a lead comes in, we qualify that lead just as much as they might think they're qualifying us. We're actually probably kicking out 80% due to unqualification, as opposed to maybe the other way around, trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. We
Yeah.
just want to make sure that everything's crystal clear. We're doing our due diligence on the company, just like they're doing theirs on us.
And I think that's really important, especially I think like obviously often earlier in an agency's lifespan, I think a lot of people need to accept clients in order to just be able to make ends meet, and like make sure that they're building up their portfolio and whatever it may be. But at the same time, once you get to a certain level, I think it's really important to be able to say no, because it's, the more people that you accept that aren't like a proper fit, the more likely you're probably going to get a bad review because you're not like working well with them. And like that doesn't mean that they're necessarily a bad client across the board. They're just not a proper fit for your agency, and that's just something to be realistic about. And that, a lot of people who are monetarily centered, for lack of better phrasing, don't care about a proper fit. They either have an ego so big that they think that they're a proper fit for everyone, or they just are more looking at that dollar value rather than an actual proper experience for that person, company, whatever it may be.
Yeah, it's interesting. Some people will come in and they will have extremely high expectations, and then we're saying, okay, that's great, very unrealistic, not going to happen. Even if you give us $100,000 a month, not going to happen, right? So we have to like reframe that expectation, but more often than not, they still hold it and they can't. They're just not able to work with Searchbloom, and they can take that expectation like elsewhere or in house. But it just wouldn't work with us.
Yeah, I mean, like you can waste your money elsewhere because like no one can do the impossible, but there are people that will take your money and say that they'll try, which is like honestly, I don't even know if I blame those people, because it's like if you're telling them that you can't do it, but they're still willing to give you money to do it, then like I mean, there's a bunch of people that would just take that money, and I can't really hate them for that, I guess. But there's also a stance of I shouldn't be taking your money if I can't do what you're telling me to do, even if I'm telling you I can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, saying I don't think I can do it, but I'll take your money. It's uh, kind of weird, a little bit of a
Weird.
dichotomy. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I think overarching there's a lot of education to be had here, and more often than not, when we are working with even the most sophisticated, call them Fortune 1000 companies, more often than not, we're educating most of the part of the sales process. Is a lot of education and due diligence on our side.
Yeah, I think that it's really important to understand that there's an educational aspect to it on both ends. Like even like if you're working with an industry that you're not very familiar with and you think that a plan will work and they're telling you, "Hey, like I don't know if that's going to work because of this, this and this." Like maybe they're not the experts in what you do, but they can give you some insight of how you can do what you're doing better for this client specifically. And I think that there's a lot of agencies or people out there or whatever it may be that are very unwilling to listen to their client in certain aspects because they're like, I'm the expert, you're coming to me, so why should I be doing that? And that's not really realistic either. Like you want to be successful, you have to listen to your client to a level as well.
Yeah, you have to learn from them because what they do, you don't do, right? And I have like maybe I'll get on a bit of a soapbox here. I have a qualm with what a lot of agencies do, which is like niching down. Like, okay, I'm only going to service this industry, law or HVAC or home services, whatever. Not with like the business fundamental aspect of it from a business 101, like if we're going to school, yeah, that's clearly the way you should do it. The problem that occurs is that there is no cross pollination, meaning you're not learning at all. You've already learned a lot, if not all, of every aspect of HVAC, and you have placed all of them. That means what you're doing is the same for this partner or client or in this client. So they're getting the exact same thing. What makes them different? What makes them better? Right. So that's why we do not niche down. We like to work with all kinds of different businesses. Of course, not some of gambling, porn, things like that. We don't do that, but we like to work with a lot of different industries so that we can learn from one industry and take it into another and test. And that's what marketing is, right? Experimentation.
No, yeah, this is a really interesting stance because a lot of people disagree with you, and I
100%.
know that because I've heard both stances on this podcast about niching down. Bigger topic at the beginning, but definitely still something that is often spoken about, and and I very much agree with you on a lot of. I don't know where I stand. I'm gonna be so honest. I hear so many different opinions that are definitely all justifiable, but I do completely understand where you're coming from of the idea that because like I think about it of we're in design and I'm not in a typical marketing position, but I get so much inspiration from so many other companies of like their failures or their successes, and it has nothing to do with design or it has nothing to do with my industry, but the general outline of what they were able to achieve is still helpful. And when you're working with the same client over and over again, not only something that I always think of and that I think that no one really mentions when they niche down is especially if you're working with like local clients, isn't it like kind of a conflict of interest to work with in the same industry? Because what if they want the same things? How can you make everyone rank for the same things at the same level if and I know there's rules in relation to that sometimes as well. Like they won't work with a competitor that's directly whatever it may be, but that's something that I always thought was kind of not talked about in the niching down area either, because that sounds like a conflict of interest.
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly some areas to that. I think there are some maybe bad actors that will just, take money, and there is what it is, and the higher your retainer, the more you invest, the more likely you are to rank above one of our other clients that is investing less, right? But I think some of the better ones that do niche down. Uh, we'll probably have some exclusivity agreement, like, hey, we will not work with any other businesses in this geographic area. Something
Yeah,
like that.
so I'm sure that there is many that do that, and that would be, probably the most morally correct thing to do if that was something that happens. But I'm sure that it probably comes up more often than, hopefully not more often than not. I should just say that it just probably come up that people don't think about that. And I do talk to a lot of agencies that are also doing local um, marketing, and they have a niche, so that just doesn't make sense to me in like a lucrative way, but maybe I'm just not as well versed in that to understand how that works out for them in a growth standpoint. But again, maybe that's their goal.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of attorneys out there. In the United States, there's a lot of HVAC professionals. Just sticking to those examples, their ICP, their avatar. There's hundreds of thousands of them in this just this country. So their addressable market is still massive. What comes is operational economies of scale. So again, from a business case, totally makes sense on paper. From an opportunity and learning and cross-pollination standpoint, that's why I favor non-downstream niching.
Yeah, because you can work with a client and learn something from them that you wouldn't do if you were normally working in the same industry and having maybe a very similar plan for all. And I'm sure that's really great for efficiency, maybe for to be working in one industry, because I think a lot of people, for niching down, say that they're an expert in that field and they can do the best because they're so experienced in it. But I think that you're not maybe you're not as willing to look outside the box and explore different ways of doing something that might be more successful than your current strategy if you don't have experience in other industries and work with them.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said about that, for sure.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Well, okay, switching gears, but kind of going back to something that you mentioned earlier. Okay, so you emphasize trust and transparency a lot with your agency, which I think is really important, and I 100% agree with. What does transparency mean to you in the way of how do you make sure that that is always put at the top, or like the top priority for you when speaking with clients?
So we have frameworks built, the trust framework, the transparency framework, and the results-driven framework, all of which we are internally and externally pulling data from our partners and from our account leads or what we call analysts. And what that does, it enables a lever of like, how are we doing with trust here with this partner? How are we doing with transparency? And we're auditing these things on a regular basis. How are results looking, right? We're auditing, and much of it is automated, but this is the way in which we can surface areas where, results aren't there, or the partner, we're getting a little bit of lack of trust here. So how can we adapt and build trust, right? So those individual frameworks are kind of, I would equate them similar to an NPS type of situation, but they're very much based on those individual silos of trust, transparency, and results.
I think it's great to be able to reflect on what's happening at certain points to make sure that you're doing that. Can I ask what specific things you look for when you believe a client is losing trust, or whatever it may be, however you phrased it earlier?
Yeah, well, given specific examples for like with regards to trust, everything that we do is recorded, right? So like we have fireflies and we meet with partners on Zoom, and there are specific words that a partner might use that are flag words that instantly change their trust score, and that is instantly flagged upstream to leadership and management, so that we can go in and look at that. And then if someone's asking for a particular way of understanding, or like a dashboard, say they are, hey, can you build a dashboard for me? That means that we need to focus more on transparency, or
because they're asking for evidence of what
yes,
happened.
exactly. Can you show me? Now, more often than not, they don't need to, because we're building these things proactively, and they have their own setup within the Searchbloom ecosystem. But there are times, of course, where you might have a lack of trust. Maybe a good example is one analyst is moving to another category within the business and transitioning a partner to another analyst in the current cohort there or category of the business. That is a unique situation because the partner has gotten to know this individual.
Yeah.
They trust them. They've built a relationship with them, and now they're all of a sudden moving to a new person. So we have that trust framework to build trust with the new analyst as well, the incumbent, if you will. They're not new; they're just incumbent.
Yeah. No, I really I understand that, and I think that it's really great that you have these certain points to evaluate and understand um, the client better of how they're feeling, and also like it's great that you consider the very natural ways in which someone might like not have trust or need to build it back because yeah, no one really loves to, it's like having a new doctor. Like no one really likes to switch doctors if they really liked their previous doctor, but it's just a natural way of things. Sometimes it just has to happen. What if someone leaves your company? I mean, like it's just how it works, but it really there's it's really nice to have certain things in place to make sure that that person still feels cared about even though they're being moved over to another place that there maybe is just like a little foreign to them.
Yeah, a new person, a new face, and they just are they don't have that experience, that level of trust that they have developed with another individual. So we have a specific play that we run to help our partners understand that this isn't some fresh newbie coming out of whatever, right? They know exactly what's going on because there is a transition process that we follow and a play that we run each and every single time we do these types of things. And also, it's actually a benefit to our partners to have transitions because more often than not, as analysts, sometimes we get blinders on, right? We get tunnel vision, and we do what we do, and we do really well at that thing. But sometimes it's hard to step back and see the forest beyond the trees right in front of you. And
Yeah.
having a fresh set of eyes on the account is more often than not helpful. Even though we always have multiple sets of eyes on an account, having that adjacent set of eyes is extremely helpful.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really great point to be made because yeah, it is if you're used to doing something the same way for so long, I think a lot of people would think, if it's not broken, don't fix it kind of thing, but at the same time there's a level of leeway in there in which like you should maybe be thinking outside the box again, as we kind of mentioned earlier, of just having that understanding that just because something has always been doesn't mean it always has to be. There's sometimes always better, there's ways in which a business can prosper more, even if what like the level of success that you're seeing is still good on paper. There's still ways in which, things might be able to be better. And if we're not considering different perspectives, then you might not be able to see that.
Yeah, that we actually it's a core value at Searchbloom. It's called Take Pulse, which is literally like step back and look at this from 10,000 feet. Look at this from 20,000 feet, and see the narrow gap that you're in right now, and then all the other opportunities that might be surfacing. And within our task management system, we have a specific list built for opportunities where we can, when stepping back, when taking pulse, we document those opportunities for future iterations, for future tasks, for future implementations.
Oh, I love that. I think, well, I was actually going to ask you, I mean, maybe that might be it, but what if, okay, say Search Bloom was to like double in size, like in a very normal way, in a very like normal timeline, not something that's too daunting and terrifying to happen all at once. What core values do you think that would be the most important to you to make sure that with your growth are still present?
Yeah, so we have 6 core values. I know that all the books say, hey, have 4 or less, but we have 6. Um, the one that I look for the most is own it, um, which is I use this metaphor all the time. Like I'm running like a a relay race, right? And maybe I'm the first leg in that relay race. I have the baton, I'm running, I'm doing my very, very best. The next person up needs to be prepared, ready to go, so I can give it to them so they can own it. And then so on and so forth, right? So own it is critical. That's something that we look at all of the time. Are they owning their engagements? Are they owning building relationships, which is another core value, building lasting relationships, both internally and externally at the firm? Are they never letting it rest? Another core value. Are they curious? Do they have a mind of curiosity? Are they curious all the time? Are they always learning? Right? Are they always adapting? That's never let it rest. We got this, and then another core value, meaning it's not an I team here. It's team. Like we work together, we collaborate on everything, every little thing, even if it's like really small. We are still collaborative, not only within the organization, but with our partners. We want to have that strategy and collaboration and be an embedded part of our partners' team and be that partner that they wish they would have hired 4 agencies ago.
Well, I really think that's a lovely set of core values. So don't let anyone tell you that you have too many. If you're fulfilling them and you're truly staying true to all of them, then it doesn't matter if you have too many. Or I think that that's really it's really important to know who you are as an agency and also feel that everyone that's a part of it resonates with how you feel who you are, because then that's not who we are, that's who a couple people in the agency are, and that's not that ends up leading to some problems.
We measure individuals based on core values. So one that wasn't mentioned was keep it crystal. How keep it crystal? How are they keeping it crystal with their partner? How transparent are they being? And that ties into the mission, right? So all of these have been developed to really promote the mission of the company, which is again the reason why it was founded, the reason why it was started, because they were lacking trust, transparency, results everywhere I observed. Even if results were there was no transparency on how that was occurring, or trust was. It was a relay game between the account manager that didn't really know what was going on or tried to did their best, but wasn't a subject matter expert. And that's okay. I understand those models. I get those models. But at Searchbloom, you work directly with your analyst. And no, they might not be the most polished account executive, but they are subject matter experts. They'll tell you exactly what it is, how it works, when not to do it, when to do it, how to do all this stuff, right? And we found that having that model is very helpful with our partners, and we can train account management to a degree. We can train that. It's very hard to train subject matter expertise within a silo or within a vacuum.
Yeah, I can completely understand that. There's some things that are easier to build frameworks for than others. Sometimes it's just based on experience that they have.
Most of the time, yeah. It's mostly experience, yeah.
That makes sense. That's very normal. So okay, since we're coming up on time, I want to ask you something that's I like to go past looking or future looking at the end. So, what is your vision for Searchbloom in the next 5 to 10 years? Hopefully you make the 20-year mark. We'd love that. That's another milestone. What's your vision for that? What's your goals? What would you really like to see then? And everything you're excited for.
Yeah, so I have developed a 6-year vision, and that effectively is 3 times growth, which is, some might say, well, that's kind of conservative, right? Well, I'm not in this for top line. I don't really care about top line revenue.
I
I
support
care
that.
about, yeah, I care about, like, are we making our partners money, and are we making money? Because if it doesn't work that way, the business itself fundamentally is flawed, right? So 6 years will effectively triple in size. That is in terms of partner logos, as well as I would say to a degree, headcount as well within the company. There's a lot of things that we are investing in from a large language model and AI point of view that candidly don't require additional humans. Like we don't need additional humans to do certain things like we used to. Like 5, 10 years ago, we needed human beings to do certain things, keyword research, right? Keyword mapping. Um, that is unnecessary. We have machines to do that and do it very, very fast, very, very well. And then it goes to the analyst to make sure that it's correct. Like, hey, is there anything that missed here? Is there something that I know that a machine might not, that I can apply to what it's kicked out?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's definitely very important and almost like unavoidable for the future to have to consider what you can automate that makes more sense and for more efficiency for a business, just because I think that you're really missing out on opportunities in which like your like everyone that's a part of your agency could be using their time better for as well. And I think that's something that is definitely good to consider for scaling. But I really love your mentality about, a lot of people might say that the growth in which you want for that year mark is conservative. But I think, I don't know, I really appreciate the mindset of, I mean, you can have these very overzealous goals for growth, and it may be possible that you can maintain all of your values and your happy clients with a very overzealous but it's kind of less likely. And I think that holding the importance of how you treat your clients and how they're feeling and how successful you are in and keeping like high expectations for yourself and your own work is more likely to work out when you have goals for growth that are a little lower. And I think that's okay. I think that if anything, if you're really maintaining true to your morals and your values, I think that's much more important. So I appreciate you sharing that and being transparent about it, because I think that a lot of people think that that's humbling, but it's not. It's just, you actually care about it.
No, I mean, I care about stability. I care about our people more than I care about money, right? Top line revenue, whatever. I care about stability. It goes with most agencies where it's like urgent, urgent, urgent. Like everybody's running around like chickens with their heads cut off, right? It's crazy in an agency. Not a Searchbloom. We're a stable company. We operate based on stable principles, right? And or at least try to work towards those types of stability components. Ultimately, though, there are other things that I foresee within our vision and have documented. For example, revenue diversification. So everybody knows Searchbloom, it seems like, as an SEO company. And when you look at the numbers, 70% of our revenue is, well, just under 70%, is SEO.
Mhm.
But what's crazy is we manage $100 million in Google ad spend a year. And people don't know how good we are at Google ads and Bing ads, YouTube ads, these things. So revenue diversification is a critical component of the vision. Building out our other teams, our other disciplines, paid media and things like that. There's a lot that I could go into details as well, but suffice to say, like business 101, right? Those types of things are critical for company and the company's stability.
Yeah, no, I think that those are important things to consider, especially if you're trying to scale. Then there are obviously clients that are probably going to be asking for additional services, which is something that is a natural progression for an agency, I think, on all fronts. That's just something that kind of ends up working out. I mean, and you find that, and it's an opportunity for people at your agency to learn more, and maybe go into different positions in the same agency. It's like, and that is part of your core value, is being curious and learning, and that kind of just tracks with that natural progression of things.
Yeah.
Well, I do have to end it here because we're a little over time, but this was very, very fun. And I really appreciate you being so transparent, and like I can very clearly see how genuine you are about how you care about your clients and care about everyone within your agency and working towards a unified goal. And I think that's really wonderful to hear, because I do hear it from other agencies, but I never, you never know what's true or not, because there's obviously agencies out there burning people, and we know this, but I don't know who they are all the time. But I really do. I feel like your ingenuity and just genuinely, heartfelt about the work that you do. So it's really great to hear. So thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing that.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. And I do. I really do care.
I appreciate that. I'm sure the audience will appreciate it too. So you guys should check out Cody in the description, as well as Searchbloom. And I hope you all have a lovely day. We do nothing without you. And thank you for listening. Goodbye.